Hello and welcome to Favorite Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's Challenge Cup round 2 review. Very interesting round. And I think as much as it's the second tier competition, for example, of European rugby, I think this round really proved how good the Challenge Cup can be and how much fun it's going to be to watch. Because at the end of the day, there are still some great sides in this. And that's what I think makes it so much fun. And again, also, this is a whole different thing to play for. As Champions Cup, you're playing for the best team in the European competitions, the URC Premiership top 14. The Challenge Cup, you're playing for a place in that Champions Cup. You're playing for a place to be considered one of the top sides in the world. And for a lot of these teams, especially those who have had bad starts to their domestic season, this offers a whole different route, a different sort of possibility to get into the Champions Cup and to win some silverware. I think of the team like the Sharks, the Lions, for example. This offers them a bit of a ticket into potentially Champions Cup rugby, even if they can't get there through the URC. And it's amazing how some teams are really making it count. Other teams are almost already letting it slip. And good to see as well that new sides, the competitional sides that aren't even involved in the European competitions, have stood up. So before we sort of get into some of the results, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Let's get into it, shall we? First result. What a game. What a performance. What a moment for Blackline. A side that not too many people would have heard of. Not a lot of players that they would know, for example, maybe a bit more after the World Cup. But this is huge for Georgian rugby. It's for them to go and beat the Scarlets at Scarlets, by the way, is massive. And 23-7, that's quite comprehensive. We saw in the first round, and we sat there going, listen, these guys are not bad. These are going to be a pushover. And for them to go and get their first victory in just the second week of the competition shows you, first of all, the quality of them, but also the value. I mean, what this will do, for Georgian rugby down the line is going to be massive. So really cool result there. So let's look at getting a win over Clermont. At home, the Premiership sides continue to have the number over their French counterparts at the moment. Huge win for Zebra Palmer. Their victory, Cheetahs' victory last weekend against Zebra was to a certain degree understated or maybe even undervalued because people become quite dismissive over Zebra Palmer because of the last 18 months they've had. This season, it's a different side. It really is a different side. And to go and to beat World Rugby away is really big for this Italian side who are getting better. In my initial sort of URC season preview, I said that they've got to show value to the competition, the URC. And when they beat the Sharks, for example, they got that draw as well. That's showing more value. Become a side that isn't just a fixture in the calendar. Become something, even if it's a small speed hump, become a speed hump. And winning games is a lot more than just a speed bump. So huge result for them over there. You then got Edinburgh. Beating Castro at home. Also a pretty big result. Benetton hitting back nicely, and Australian Perpignan side, which is basically a Challenge Cup sort of ambitions are really over. But Benetton continuing to show that they're also a side on the rise that are going to compete. This Lions versus Newcastle game, it's a big result. I mean, the Lions have looked top 2-3 teams in the competition so far. If we're being honest, they sent a weakened side over and beat Perpignan. Yes, you are having an awful season. And yes, this is a Newcastle Falcons side which do sit bottom of the Premiership. But you've got to beat what's in front of you. And the Lions getting a bonus point victory to cap off a pretty decent year for them. The big thing about them is you're seeing progression. You're seeing them getting better every week. If they could just ride out the momentum, then who knows how far they can go. Important victory here for Poe. Or Sexy Polar, is that to go obviously send a very weakened side, get handled by the Sharks is fine, but then you've got to respond when you're at home, and you do bring some of your bigger players back, and you've got to then respond. And they did that. With a victory over Dragons. Wasn't maybe as substantial as they'd like, but an important result. Result of the weekend, the Cheetahs beating the Sharks, and it was a top Shark side as well. The Sharks union is in turmoil at the moment. They are, for me, a failed experiment at the moment with regards to the whole ownership situation. And for a Cheetahs side to go and beat the Sharks, they're 2 from 2. They're all of a sudden showing their champions, the Challenge Cup ambitions. And for example, last year, and when Cheetahs were doing well, there's a lot of question marks saying, well, maybe they should be in the URC ahead of the Lions. Now, that's not going to happen anytime soon. But things are changing, and right now, if you were to replace the side, you sit there looking at the Sharks, who are absolutely nowhere in the URC, being beaten now by the Cheetahs in the Challenge Cup, and you sit there saying, well, maybe the Sharks are the ones that need to be looked at with regards to having all the players, which is, performance wise, team wise, they're just not really there. And then obviously Montpellier, they have been the form team of the competition, 38 5-point victory over the Ospreys. That kind of showing you their quality. So we look at the pools. Over here, pool 1, she is topping it, 9 points out of a possible 10. The one thing about Sharks, they did get two losing bonus points. They sit there 7 points, so they're still well placed on the log. They will have to travel next year, and so need to try and find a second win there. So yeah, I do think that the Sharks need to really focus on the Challenge Cup as an opportunity for them to try and qualify for the Champions Cup. Look at pool 2, bit of a pool of death, isn't it? I mean, you've got Montpellier, Lions, Benetton. It's a really strong pool. So the Lions in their second place, Montpellier, the only side in the Challenge Cup who are 10 from 10 so far. And the Lions in second place with 9 points. Points up to 38 as well, though. 6 tries. Yeah, I think that's quite a significant thing for the Lions. And then if you look at pool 3, Gloucester and Black Lion being in second place is huge. This is a very tight pool, given the fact that bar the Scarlet, everyone's had at least one victory, and there's 4 teams tied with 5 points. So it was pretty much in the balance. The Lions probably one more win away from getting qualification. Montpellier certainly one more win away from qualification. Sharks, yeah, at the end of the day, it's not the strongest pool. So I do expect them to go through, but I think the nice thing is that I think the Cheetahs will go through as well. So let me know what you thought about the round down in the comments below. Please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.